Hey, I'm Matt with Meat Church. Let's fire up the pit and smoke some lamb. Well, we're smack dab in the middle of our annual hardcore barbecue series, which is a really popular playlist that we have on our YouTube channel. Started in 2021 and then carried it over in 2022. I think we have like 17 episodes. This is episode number 2 of 2023. Last week was bourbon barrel ribs, but now we're jumping into lamb. This is another recipe that you guys have been asking for a long time. I cook just a little bit of lamb. As far as as the world goes, it's one of the most popular proteins in the world to cook. It's just not as popular in the US. Certainly popular around Easter. And if you can get good lamb, it's great. And really what made me want to make this was I hosted a barbecue festival at AT&T Stadium called Q Barbecue Fest, and Pig Beach came from New York, and they served a gyro with lamb with a white sauce or tzatziki sauce that was amazing. And I loved it, and so it's been in my head to kind of do something like that for a long time, and we thought, let's just drop it right in the middle of hardcore barbecue. So what do we have here today is a 4 3/4 pound leg of lamb that we picked up at Costco Business in Dallas. Really affordable. It's $5.99 a pound, so this was like $28, but the past 2 times I've been there, it's like $6 off, so it's just over $20. And we're gonna be very simple with this. I'm going to prepare it in what I call kind of a Greek style. Just hit it with a couple seasonings, and bonus, we're going to make a tzatziki sauce that I think is really good, and ultimately we're going to serve it in a gyro because that's just a way that I like it. But extremely minimal preparation and cooking, so let's just jump right into it. So when it comes to kind of the anatomy and what you want to do with this, there's a whole lot of options. A lot of people get into, how much fat do I trim off? Do I trim silver skin or not? All I'm going to do today is take off the hard fat. And on this one, really it's kind of just like right here. It doesn't need a whole heck of a lot. This is New Zealand lamb. I've actually cooked this recently, and I'm not getting into removing silver skin because I don't think it needs it. Now, silver skin does not render down. If you want to take it off, you can. And I'm gonna talk while I start to take my flexible boning knife here and just kind of trim away this fat. So if you like to cook wild game, or say someone in your family thinks that something is too gamey, that is often from the silver skin or the fascia in between the muscles. So depending what you're cooking, always a choice of yours if you want to remove it or not. I think it is critical to remove it in wild game to reduce that taste. Because otherwise you see a lot of people marinating and doing all this crazy stuff, and I want the natural flavor of the meat to come through personally. But if you're new here, or if you haven't followed us for very long, you'll know that I say my recipes and methods are just a guideline. I'm going to show you a way that I know will be great and you'll like it, but it's not the end all be all. It's just something that I like and something that works. So you guys make it your own, use your own flavor profiles, and cook how you want. I always say in my barbecue schools, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, and I'm not trying to be cliche. There are 400 different ways to cook a brisket. As long as you're happy with the end result, that's all that matters. So you do you. All right, there's really not any more hard fat on this. That's one reason. There's a little bit right here, actually. I lied. One reason I love buying these from Costco is it's very, very simple. This comes together real quickly. Our total cook time is going to be around 6 hours. So this is something that I can easily get done. We're going to cook on an offset smoker today, but if you wanted to do this on a pellet grill, you could put this on in the morning at a low enough temperature to let it ride throughout the day and do your final steps in the evening when you get home from work, and it could be supper. So it's a really good option. We're going to start with a binder at first. I'm just going to use a little olive oil. Binders to me are a way for seasoning to adhere to the meat and also stay adhered during the cook process, but they are optional. This is a neutral cooking oil. So this isn't going to affect the flavor profile. It's literally helping the rub stick on and stay on. Of course, I'm going to find some more stuff I want to take off. Whoop. Okay, so let's talk about seasoning. My Holy Cow beef rub, technically beef rub, love it on wild game, love it on lamb. It's primarily salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic. So it's a great flavor profile for this. But I'm going to come in with our garlic and herb, one of my favorite seasonings. So the herbs that are in it, the big herbs, and you can read on the bottle here, there's basil, thyme, oregano. There's no rosemary, so I've actually chopped up some rosemary because that's a flavor that I like personally on lamb. So what I've done here is just minced up fresh rosemary, and I'm going to put this on here first. When I'm seasoning, when I'm layering seasonings, layering meaning using multiple, I like to put the bigger stuff on first. And it sounds weird, but that's just so that it doesn't bounce off. So if you've got another seasoning on here, you know, I want this to stick. So I put the bigger stuff on first, but that's just kind of a personal thing that I do. All right, now I'm going to go with my holy cow, and this is what I'm going to use primarily. So this is really the main, I would say the main layer, so to speak. This is an SPG. I put the smallest amount ever of paprika oil in it to give it a red color, because it's just a color that I think works in barbecue and outdoor cooking. So if you know Meat Church, you definitely know holy cow. It's been our #1 rub since day one. Now I'm going to hit it with the garlic and herb, and this is a delicate seasoning, so you could put a lot on it. So I'm not sure how this is going to come across on camera, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm just absolutely hammering this with it. But when it comes to lamb, I like the look of the kind of studded look of all this rosemary on here and this garlic and herb. So I like to let my seasonings adhere for at least 15 minutes, preferably an hour. And I usually say with big cuts, if you want to do this the night before and get the prep out of the way, then put this in a pan, cover it with foil, put it in your fridge, and then cook it the next day. So I'm going to go get some stuff done while this adheres, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll start cooking. All right, the seasoning is adhered, so let's head over to the pit. So today we're cooking on a mill scale offset with post soak running 250 degrees. I call it the universal smoking temperature, but I've been saying this a lot lately. You can replicate my recipes and methods on any type of cooker that you have, whether it be a pellet grill, Kamado grill, whatever you choose. So rocking our mill scale today. Love this. I consider it an heirloom product. It's pretty cool because I think my kids will cook on it one day. But let's talk about what we're gonna do. So if you were cooking lamb chops, you would treat it more like a steak as far as the internal temperature. So USDA says 145. If you want it more rare, you know, like medium rare, then closer to 130. But in this case, I mentioned we're going to cook this as a gyro, so we're gonna pull this lamb at the end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smoke it until it's about 165, and then we're gonna put it in a pan, wrap it, and cook it until it's just over 200 or it's tender. So a lot like pulled pork, so it's super duper easy, and honestly, incredibly hard to screw up, and it's gonna be delicious. In we go. My setup is very straightforward. I've got a log here as a fire blocker. That I get asked that all the time. That's just to keep the direct heat from blasting it. I'm gonna put my bigger end of the leg towards the fire, close it down. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna spritz it. If you wanted to add layers of flavor, you could spritz throughout the process. This is gonna take about 4 hours at 250 to get to 165, so I'll see y'all back then. All right, our lamb is rocking right along. The mill scale's purring, 250 degrees, right on the dot. So while it's cooking, let's make a tzatziki sauce. So this is something that I made a few days ago that's been sitting in my fridge. It's awesome, it's super easy. The recipe is always down in the description, and everything we do is always on meatchurch.com. All right, so we've got 2 cups of plain Greek yogurt. Okay. We've got 1 cucumber. I like to take about half of the skin off of it, and then it's just diced up finely from there. This is the zest of 2 lemons. We've got 2 garlic cloves minced up. 2 tablespoons of dill, fresh dill. You know, use fresh anytime you can, especially in this. Sorry, that's mint. I should know my herbs better. 4 tablespoons of dill. I could smell it as soon as I picked it up. And then we need the juice of 2 lemons. It's like child's play with the Montana knives. All right, squeeze them in. All right, mix it all together. By the way, shout out to my friends at ThermoWorks. They keep me in the silicone stuff. So not only do I love ThermoWorks for instant reads, but I love all their silicone tools as well. I'll use it in all my kitchens. I actually love their little trivets that we use as little hot pads. So all you gotta do here is just mix this up, and then when we're done mixing it, we're gonna add a little, your salt and pepper to taste, but y'all know me. Anytime it's salt and pepper to taste, I holy cow to taste. I don't know, it's probably a table, yeah, probably not a tablespoon, a little less. So we mix it up. All we're gonna do, test it, make sure we like it, and we're gonna go put it in the fridge. I like when this is in the fridge in advance so it can really come together and those flavors meld. It's nice that way. You know, if you're in a pinch and don't have the time, just make it when you start cooking the lamb and it's still gonna be delicious. I don't even need to test it. I know that was the perfect amount of holy cow. It looks beautiful. So off to the fridge I go, and we'll be back to check on the lamb in just a little bit. Well, the lamb's been smoking right at about 4 hours. I've checked it, and it looks great, so let's bring it out. Beautiful. Man, that looks good. Gorgeous color. Smells awesome. Using my instant read, I just temped it right before we came back in. It's 165 degrees, but always go visual cues first. You know, I'm looking for, you know, just a great color. I don't know if you'd want to call it bark or not in this case, but it looks and smells awesome. So let's talk about how we're going to finish this out, how we're going to get it to a state where it's pullable. So a while back, my friends at Traeger had Mayhem Loren come down to my house. We didn't know each other at the time, and he made lamb. And he went to wrap it, which is what I'm about to do. Didn't put any liquid in the pan and just put some garlic cloves in it. And lamb is so fatty that you'll see when we wrap this and put it back in the pit, same temp, it's gonna kick out so much jus. It's kind of crazy, to be honest with you. So this is very, very simple. Fits in a half pan with complete ease. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put 8 or 10 garlic cloves in here. I'm not putting any liquid. If you wanted to put a braising liquid, you certainly could. But in a lot of my methods, I show you the simplicity of things, like how easy is this? And if you want to kick it up and do other things, knock yourself out. We'll wrap this up tight. We're going back in the pit at 250 degrees. And I can tell you from experience, this is going to take about 2 hours to get from 165 to 200. But we're going to be using our instant read along the way. We're going to be probing this in the thick part of the leg, and when we break 200, you're probably going to feel very little resistance. So somewhere 200, 205 degrees, it's going to be ready to pull it off. We'll spend a couple hours, and the lamb is done. On the little ThermoWorks trivet. Oil's all nice and got a tan. God, it smells awesome. Well, I guess that lamb gave up. Good Lord. That's crazy. It just like snapped in half. Too funny. All right. Well, let's start to pull this off here. Man, look at that. It's obviously very hot. I'm trying it anyway. Oh, that's good. Really, really good. I'm just going to take 2 forks. I'm not resting it. I'm just going to go ahead and just start to kind of pull this apart. You can see it has like tremendous amount of smoke in it. It's just going to come right apart here. You're obviously going to pull this bone out, or bones, I should say here. Need a little cartilage that you got in here. Set that aside. Nice and clean. And then don't sleep on that garlic. It's been there for a couple hours as that liquid came out. As Mayhem said, this garlic is just going to end up becoming one with this lamb. So if you like garlic, be sure to add it in there like we did. Man, just comes right apart. Super tender. It smells awesome, by the way. So I'm going to sit here and use my hands, use these forks, however you prefer to kind of pull your meat, completely incorporate it. And then I'm going to go get the tzatziki from the fridge and some fresh pitas. And I'm pretty dang excited about this lunch. Honestly, I'm really excited about this. I love myself a gyro, so I know this is going to be really, really good. Let's start out with fresh pita. Clearly the only pita that we support here at Meat Church. All right, lamb. Gotta go big. I'm hungry. This may be the star of the show, by the way. This tzatziki is money. Kind of do what you want. You know, I'm gonna go little cucumber. I know there's some in the tzatziki, go a little bit more. Gonna go a little bit of tomato. A little bit of red onion. No, I'm a cheese guy. I'm telling you, I've determined through this business, cheese is one of the most polarizing things you could talk about. Don't ever put American cheese in a video, by the way. Top with a little bit of dill. What do y'all think? Golly, that's a dinner right there. Bam. Love it. I'm going in. Damn. I'm kind of mad at it. Mad that it took me so long to make this damn video. That is super good. Dang, that's good. Y'all have to make this. We've dropped some bangers lately, and I would say that's one of them. Well, check out our hardcore barbecue series. Everything from baby back ribs, Texas style ribs, beef ribs, smoked meatloaf, whole hog, brisket on a pellet grill, chicken with Alabama white sauce. All the classics are in the playlist. You guys check that out. Like and subscribe. Your subscriptions help us keep bringing you these free videos. And don't forget to stick around for the wrap-up that we do at the end. I'll shoot this wrap-up next week when I've had time to reflect on this, feed it to Mrs. Meat Church, see what she says, and give you just some honest thoughts later. See y'all next time. Well, welcome to the wrap-up. It's been a week since we shot this video, and I would tell you that easily my number one takeaway was it was delicious. Everyone loved it. My team back at Meat Church Barbecue Supply loved it. So really glad we finally put this out here. Gyro is one of my favorite things to eat, so I know that you guys are gonna love this one. You know, I think the only thing I noticed I didn't say in the video, I think it's obvious the cheese was feta. I went on my polarizing cheese kick and didn't mention what type of cheese it was, but I'm a feta cheese lover. I'll leave you with one thing. Everyone's been asking about when is the Meat Church spring merch drop, and it is going to be this weekend. So stay tuned to meatchurch.com. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter because that's always where we drop all the info before things go live. So that's kind of the 411 that y'all are looking for. Thanks for being here and thanks for subscribing, and we'll see y'all next week.